Okay, so this is for the subject monetary policy and central banking. The topic for this video, monetary policy explained, including its objectives, types, and tools. So this is another look, another perspective about the monetary policy. Okay, so this article is from The Balance. All right. So let's begin with the monetary policy target rates. Okay, so this is just an example, and again, normally this would depend on the current situation of the economy of a particular country. All right. So for example, unemployment below 6.5%, annual increase in gross domestic product from the previous year 2 to 3%, and then core inflation rate between 2 and 2.5%. Okay. Monetary policy is a central bank's actions and communications that manage the money supply. The money supply includes forms of credit, cash, checks, and money market mutual funds. Okay? The most important of these forms of money is credit. Credit includes loans, bonds, and mortgages. Okay? Monetary policy increases liquidity to create economic growth. It reduces liquidity to prevent inflation. Okay. Essentially, the liquidity pertaining they are referring to here is the money supply. Okay, with more money in the market, then hopefully that will stimulate more economic activities that will contribute to economic growth. But then that could lead to inflation. And so sometimes they would reduce liquidity, decrease the money supply so that the prices would not rise and it would curb or prevent the inflation. Okay. Central banks use interest rates, bank reserve requirements, and the number of government banks that banks must hold. Okay. All these tools affect how much banks can lend, and the volume of loans affects the money supply. Okay. In the previous video, we've discussed some of these, how the increase in interest rates would, discourage people from borrowing, and with discouraged borrowing, they would be discouraged to spend as well. And then decreasing interest rates would encourage borrowing and encourage spending. As for bank reserve requirements, if this is decreased, then the banks would have more money to lend to businesses and borrowers, so that would encourage more spending. But if the bank reserve requirement is increased, then the banks would have less money to lend to businesses and individuals, so that would mean decreased money supply. Okay, and then number of government bonds that banks must hold. So if they increase this, it's essentially a sale from the central bank to the private banks, right? So if the central bank sells them, then there would be less money. There's going to be a flow of money from the market to the central bank. But if the central bank decides to buy them from the banks, then there's going to be an infusion of money from the central bank to the market. Okay, so that's how these three normally affects the supply of money. Okay. Key takeaways: the Federal Reserve uses monetary policy to manage economic growth, unemployment, and inflation. So normally those three, even here in the Philippines, those three are the goals of why we have the monetary policy. It does this to influence production, prices, demand, and employment. Expansionary monetary policy increases the growth of economy. That's why, from the term expansion or expand, while contractionary policy slows economic growth. One of the reasons why there would be a need to slow down economic growth is normally to curb inflation. Okay. The three objectives of monetary policy are controlling inflation, managing employment levels, and maintaining long-term interest rates. Okay, they can't just simply, wish for the economy to grow and not look at how it's affecting the inflation rate, right? So although there's more capacity for the economy to grow, there are more opportunities for the economy to grow. They cannot simply go after that and keep the economy growing, because they need to consider how it's going to affect the inflation, and essentially the inflation affects the valuation of the money, the purchasing power. So that would be countering each other. So there needs to be some sort of balance between these factors. Okay. Managing long-term interest rates. The Fed implements monetary policy through open market operations. Let's replace this with central banks. Reserve requirements, discount rates, federal funds rate, and inflation targeting. Three objectives of monetary policy. Central banks have three monetary policy objectives. Most important is to manage inflation. The third objective is to promote moderate long-term interest rates. Okay. The U.S. Federal Reserve, like many other central banks, has specific targets. Okay. For these objectives, it wants the core inflation to be around 2%. Beyond that, it prefers a natural rate of unemployment of between 3.5 and 4.5%. Normally, these are released maybe a few months before the start of a new year, because essentially the target rates are changed every year. Okay. The Fed's overall goal is healthy economic growth. That's a 2% to 3% annual increase in the nation's gross domestic product. Types of monetary policy. Central banks use contractionary monetary policy to reduce inflation. They reduce the money supply by restricting the volume of money banks can lend. The banks charge a higher interest rate, making loans more expensive. Fewer businesses and individuals borrow when the interest rate is high. Okay, that's how it slows down the growth. Central banks use expansionary monetary policy to lower employment and avoid recession. Okay. They increase liquidity by giving banks more money to lend. Banks lower interest rates, making loans cheaper. And when the loans are cheaper, businesses borrow more money to, buy equipment, to support their operations, expansions, hire more people, employees, expand their operations. So individuals borrow more to buy more homes, cars, and appliances, okay, necessities. That increases demand and spurs economic growth. But again, there should be, a balance, and it should be monitored so that inflation will be controlled. Monetary policy versus fiscal policy. So ideally, monetary policy should work hand in glove with the national government's fiscal policy. It rarely works this way. Government leaders get re-elected for reducing taxes or increasing spending. As a result, they adopt an expansionary fiscal policy. So to avoid inflation in this situation, the Fed is forced to use a restrictive monetary policy. Okay. Okay, so in this case, the situation is that the fiscal policy would do what it needs to do, what the politicians would have to do to get the people's favor, or positive feedback from the people so that they would get, re-elected or something. But in a way that could really affect inflation, there's going to be a reduction in taxes, and that would equate to increased spending. Because instead of the money going into taxes, it would equate for, more money for the businesses and people to spend, right? Okay, and in that sense, there's going to be more money supply, and then that could lead to inflation. And so it's the monetary policy that would have to counteract the effects of that. Okay. For example, after the Great Recession, Republicans in Congress became concerned about the U.S. debt. It exceeded the debt-to-GDP ratio of 100%. As a result, fiscal policy became contractionary just when it needed to be expansionary. Okay, so to compensate, the Fed injected massive amounts of money into the economy with quantitative easing. I'm actually concerned because during this pandemic, our government has borrowed a lot of money from various, either financial institutions or countries, right? And so essentially the public debt has gone up again. And maybe in one video we'll be discussing, the public debt or the national debt of the government of the Philippines, and how much each of us is going to, it's not really going to happen, but they like to compute for that, how much each of us owes, if the national government debt would be, divided by the population, something like that. Okay, continuing on, monetary policy tools. All central banks have 3 tools of monetary policy in common. First, they all use open market operations, buying or selling of government bonds and other securities from member banks. This action changes the reserve amount the banks have on hand. A higher reserve means banks can lend less. That's a contractionary policy. In the United States, the Fed sells treasury to member banks. It also happens here in the Philippines. The second tool is the reserve requirement, increasing or decreasing the reserve requirement. We discussed this earlier. Okay, when a central bank wants to restrict liquidity, it raises the reserve requirement. That gives banks less money to lend. When it wants to expand liquidity, it lowers the requirement. That gives the banks, more money to lend. Okay. Central banks rarely change the reserve requirement because it requires a lot of paperwork for the members. The third tool is the discount rate. That's how much a central bank charges members to borrow funds from its discount window. Okay, so essentially the central bank lends money to the banks as well. Okay, normally just for working capital, but not for long term. Normally it's just short term borrowing. It raises the discount rate to discourage banks from borrowing. That action reduces liquidity and slows the economy. By lowering the discount rate, it encourages borrowing. That increases liquidity and boosts growth. Okay. In the United States, the Fed Open Market Committee sets the discount rate a half point higher than the Fed funds rate. The Fed prefers banks to borrow from each other, of course. Normally, central banks are, lender of last resort. If a private bank cannot borrow from other banks, then they go to the central bank to borrow money from them. Most central banks have many more tools. They work together to manage bank reserves. The Fed has 2 other major tools it can use. Its most well-known is the Fed funds rate. This rate is the interest rate that banks charge each other to store their excess cash overnight. The target for this rate is set at the FOMC meeting. The Fed funds rate impacts all other interest rates, including bank loan rates and mortgage rates. Okay. The Fed, as well as many other central banks, also use inflation targeting. BSP does. It sets expectations that the banks want some inflation. Okay, but of course, there's the acceptable level. The Fed's inflation goal is 2% for the core inflation rate. That encourages people to stock up now since they know prices are rising later. It stimulates the demand and economic growth. Essentially, inflation is, there's acceptable inflation, and then of course there's concerning inflation. Inflation in a way is a sign that the economy is growing, right? So in a way we do want inflation, but at an acceptable level only. Okay? When inflation is lower than the core, the Fed is likely to lower the Fed funds rate. When inflation is at the target or above, the Fed will raise its rate. The Federal Reserve created many new tools to deal with the 2008 financial crisis. Normally when, a crisis happens, or recession or depression, the monetary boards or central banks really comes up with different tools or different things that they can implement to control inflation. Okay. These included the commercial paper funding facility and the term option lending facility. It stopped using most of them once the crisis ended. Okay. So that's it for this article. Just another look at the monetary policy. Essentially, some of these things we've already discussed, but I'd like to reiterate them so that, we'd remember what they actually mean. Alright? So that's it for this one. Thanks and bye.